Again, an element of me maintaining my natural hair in a way that I have never had to do so before. In particular, it was the element of patience and literally leaving my hair be. Hello and welcome back to my channel. If you are new, my name is Alexandra. On today's video, we are going to be talking about locks and the spirituality that can come on the side of going through a lock journey. Before I even get into the video, I want to ask you, what made you start your lock journey? And if so, was it tied to some sort of like spiritual journey? Was it tied to like a self-love journey, a self-awareness? Did it really allow you to kind of like dig into, you know, parts of yourself that you never really explored before in terms of how you viewed yourself and your beauty, your Black beauty, or even something even more? Because I know sometimes people start their locks at certain points in their lives and it kind of took them through certain seasons. So whatever it may be, if you feel comfortable sharing it, let me know in the comments below. I want to talk about this topic today because there's always this, I guess, debate that kind of comes up sometimes of like, does locks always have to be associated with like spirituality, and can it just be hair? And I would like to say that the beautiful thing that comes with the lock journey, and I always say this, is a lock journey is your journey. It's unique to the individual, and no two journeys can ever look the same, right? When it comes to locks, like, yes, you may have similar hair type and texture as the next person. Maybe you have, you know, similar density and your hair may be like the same length when you start, right? And you may even start using the same, you know, methods, twists or coils. You may even maintain them in a similar manner, but nevertheless, the journey that you go on with your locks will always be different from the next person, no matter if there's, you know, physical similarities in terms of like hair typing, right? But I do believe that, you know, with any journey that you go through in life, it is impactful and meaningful to the person that is going through it and in it in the moment. And not everybody starts their locks for a very specific reason. Maybe the reason that they started it is just simply because they like the way that it looks, right? And it could be just as simple as that. And maybe when they started it, it was just that, but when they went through their journey, there were things that they've learned about themselves along the way, maybe experiences and things that transpired in their life that actually took something that started off as just, well, I just like the look, and it turned it into more so something like, wow, this really taught me things about myself and my hair and how I viewed myself in a way that I've never viewed myself before. So does this mean that there always has to be some sort of spiritual journey that is attached to locks? No, but is it very much possible that it can exist? Absolutely, right? And I think that is why when people say, oh, well, why do people always feel like they have to go on this spiritual journey when it comes to locks? I don't think it's something that is even forced. I think it's something that just genuinely comes with going through the process, right? Like when you go through a journey in life, even if it's an unintentional journey, even if it's an unplanned journey, there are things that you will learn about yourself that you've never expected to learn before, right? Like that is the element of the uniqueness and in many ways the surprises that can come with going through a journey in your life. So I can say for myself, and I've talked about this in about 2 or 3 videos ago, the reason why I started my locks. And in that video, I shared with you guys that I've always had natural hair. I've never had a relaxer. I've never permed my hair. I've never, you know, even dyed my hair. My hair, this is literally my natural hair color, right? And so I grew up in a time where everyone around me, all the girls around me, they all had relaxers in their hair. It was what I was seeing in, like, you know, family members, you know, my mom, older woman in my family. It was what I was seeing on TV. So I really grew up as being the only girl that I knew who had natural hair. It was something that was always normal to me. I didn't think anything of it until I got a bit older, until I hit about my 12, 13 years old, right? And I told you guys the time of when I went to a hair salon to get my hair pressed for my 8th grade graduation, and just the negative feedback that was given to my mom from the hairdresser that was literally doing my hair, and how that moment always just stuck with me. But you know, that was the first time I really was like, oh my God, like, okay, I guess I really am different. Like my hair really is different. And not to say that after that experience, I like hated my hair because I've always been very assured of myself. It was a moment that made me realize, like, Kat, you stand out. And there's not a lot of other people out there that you know in your community, in your circle, right? That you see on a day-to-day basis that have natural hair like this. And so when I started my locks, I was simply just following what I felt like I wanted to do. It was a feeling that I knew I wanted to do for a couple of years. And just like, yeah, an empowerment moment of me once again, just embracing my natural hair. And when I went through the lock journey, right? My starter lock phase, I should say, because I'm coming up on 4 years now. But in particular, like that first year of my lock journey, I can definitely say for myself, like, it taught me so much about myself. And you would think like, oh, well, she already had natural hair before, like what was so different about it? But for me, it was again an element of me maintaining my natural hair in a way that I have never had to do so before. In particular, it was the element of patience and literally leaving my hair be. I am not a patient person whatsoever. So I was constantly like looking at my hair like, oh my God, you know, when is this 2-strand twist pattern gonna go away? When is it gonna be, you know, finally looking like locks? When am I gonna get some length, this, that, and the third? I was like really obsessed in those first couple of months about like what the journey was going to actually look like. And then secondly, there was that element of me literally leaving my hair alone. The crazy thing is, before I even started my locks, and even now that I have locks, I'm not somebody that was huge on doing styles in my hair. But being in a position where I was forcefully not able to comb my hair and do a twist out and do a braid out and do, you know, a blow dry and press and curl, because my hair was going through locking process, like letting go of that control when it comes to my hair was big for me. And I can tell you, going through that taught me so much about myself. And I can understand why people will say like having locks teaches you a lot about patience in ways that you would never think, because sometimes you can look at it and just be like, oh, but it's just hair. But coming from a person who literally has no patience whatsoever, it was like, wow. Like, wow, you really, really have to just leave your hair be. Trust that your hair is just going to do what it's going to do and be okay with that. That was really the main thing for me. Beyond that, I can also say too, starting my locks has taught me a lot about self-love in a way that I can say I've never felt before. Like I said, growing up, being the only girl who had natural hair, I always, you know, stuck out. I have dark circles. I have a story about the time when I was in, you know, the 3rd grade, and my teacher pointed out my eyes and thought that I was wearing purple eyeshadow. Meanwhile, it was just my dark circles, right? So during my teens, just like a lot of other, you know, young men and young women, right? Like those are your really transformative years. That's when you really start to face maturity in a way where it's like, okay, you're growing into who you are. You're learning things about yourself. And there was a point in time where I could really say, like, during my teens, early 20s, where it was like I just did not feel like I was beautiful. I really would look in the mirror and I would hate the way my dark circles were. And I remember when I was in college, like I would wear makeup every single day to cover them up. Just not liking things about my body, just all of these different things, right? And when I started my locks when I was 29 years old. I intentionally started them when I was 29 because I decided that I wanted to go into my 30s embracing every bit of myself in a way that I never fully embraced throughout my 20s, right? So starting my locks, I became a lot more just open to like not wearing makeup, learning how to better take care of my skin, loving my flaws, loving my dark circles, something that I view to be a flaw. Now it's honestly one of my favorite features about me. But just really being intentional as to just reclaiming myself, reclaiming my self-worth, and loving on myself in a way that I hadn't been doing the years prior. Being more kind to myself in a way that I haven't been doing the years prior. So I can definitely say, you know, the spirituality side that comes with having locks for myself is a real thing. I am going to be 33 next month. My birthday is about, 3.5 weeks away. And this is honestly the most beautiful that I've felt in my entire life. And it's not just because of the locks, but it's what the locks have forced me to learn about myself. It's what the locks have learned me when it comes to being patient with myself, stop having expectations for myself, stop wanting to be in control, and loving on myself even in the moments where I feel like I have a flaw going on, right? Like loving myself even though my hair looks crazy today. Loving myself even though, you know, my eyes look a little extra dark today because I didn't get enough sleep, right? Like all of that came with starting my locks and going through this journey for the last 3.5 going on 4 years. I started my locks in January, so January will be my 4-year lock anniversary. But there's just so much that I've learned about myself throughout this time, and I can totally resonate with the spirituality side that comes with having locks. And for everybody that doesn't exist, and maybe it doesn't exist right away, maybe it's something that comes down the line after a few years of having locks, right? Because I can also imagine, like, if you've had locks for like 15 years, there's a lot that has changed in 15 years that you have probably gone through and experienced, that you can say like, wow, my locks kind of took me along with me on that journey. And that's why you also see people will cut off their locks after a certain number of years, because they'll say like, you know, I started my locks during this very bad and chaotic energy of my life, and I just kind of want to let it go and start fresh. Like all of that stuff, I can totally understand it, and I believe it, and I feel like it's valid, and I feel like it's real, and it should be acknowledged, right? So I just wanted to come on here and kind of have that conversation with you guys, just to talk about, like, you know, what is the spiritual journey that you may have experienced when it comes with starting your locks and going through the lock process? Let me know in the comments below if you feel comfortable doing so. And I will see you guys in the next video. I'm really enjoying these sit-down conversations that we're having every Wednesday. Let me know if you're enjoying them as well. And if you have some topics that you would like for us to discuss, let me know in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.